Hi friends, welcome back to Arc Tutorials. This is Angular 10 full tutorial series for absolute beginners. We are continuing to learn about reactive forms in Angular applications. One of the most commonly used feature in any web application is to provide user to add dynamic content, and that dynamic content comes with the form controls. For example, you might want to add more than one address in the application. You might want to add more than one document. You might want to add more than one field. So that is where the dynamically adding capability comes into picture. That means that you are dynamically adding some form control to the form and also removing it. That's where form array comes into play. Form array is one of the most important and essential concept for you to learn and master reactive forms. A lot of times people get scared, they think it's complicated, they think it's tricky. It's not. I'm here to make things very simple for you. I'm here to explain you the basic, going to show you basic use cases, also show you some of the advanced and complicated use cases. I'm sure after this episode you will be much more confident of using form arrays in your application. Let's get started. This is part 69 of the Angular 10 full tutorial playlist for beginners. The playlist link is in the description box below. Make sure you check it out. I have planned more than 100 tutorials. Right now we are on the 69th episode. Following are the topics that I've covered in detail from ground zero, from basic to most advanced, covering a lot of use cases so that it will help you to learn and master Angular. So make sure you check it out. Also, if you have any doubt on all of these topics that I've covered so far, please do let me know in the comment section. I'm trying my best to help as much I can. I'll definitely reply to your comments. All right, quick note to our viewers who are joining us new in this episode. What are reactive forms? Reactive forms are a way to create forms in Angular application. The other way of creating forms is called template driven forms. Some of the important concepts that are related to reactive forms are form group, form control, form builder, and today we are also going to explore and learn about form arrays. Remember that we need to import reactive forms module in our app module if you want to work with reactive forms. A lot of times I get error messages in email saying that it's not working, and most of the times it turns out that they have not imported reactive forms module. So make sure that you have imported it correctly. All of these I have covered in detail in the previous episode. So if you're joining us new, kindly please refer to the previous episode so that you learn and master reactive forms. Alright, three important things I tell you to remember: form control, form group, and form builder. I'll add one more to this for starting today, which is form array. So what is form array, right? I will not go into a technical jargon because that's what you can find it everywhere else on the web or YouTube or anywhere else, right? Rather, I'm going to make it very simple so that you can relate to what form arrays are. Okay, so for that I will take you back to the whiteboarding, or in this case blackboard. All right, so what is form array, right? So let's think of some use cases so that you can relate to what form array is. Then I'll explain you the technical words. Imagine you have a form where you want user to add multiple addresses, right? Especially if you're working with banking, insurance applications, you would see that you can add, or even for that matter, e-commerce applications, you can add multiple addresses. Each of this address will have address 1, address 2, state, city, zip, and you can add them multiple times to the form, right? So when the user clicks on an add address button or a link, we show him with this fields and he can enter it. That means you are dynamically creating this fields and adding it to your form. One more example I'll give you. You will provide user to add multiple files, and one good way to relate is Gmail. In Gmail you can add multiple documents, multiple files to an email. So whenever we click on add new file, it's giving you a new form control, and it's giving us an option to add new file. One more example I'll give you. If you go to say Instagram or Facebook, you can add multiple fields like websites. Let's say link your websites. You click on add website, it will give you an input text box where you can add one more website link, etc. Or even for that matter, think of an online resume builder where you can add multiple colleges to your resume. Each college will have college name, etc. College name, degree, percentage, etc. And you can add them multiple times. Similarly, you can add multiple experiences in your fields, like each one would have a company name, designation, etc. And these you can add any number of times in your application. Or for that matter, look for any invoice builder. You can add multiple products. Each product will have a product name. It will have some price, some tax, and then final amount, etc. So what you're seeing here is that in all these examples that I gave you, we are doing some basic things. Let's see what. Now in technical words, we have a form. We have a form, and we are dynamically adding form controls to our form. So far, if you remember and if you're following from the previous episodes, you would see that the forms were pretty static, right? Pretty static, which means we defined the form control in our component or template, and that is what will appear in the template, right? Whatever we define in our component in the form builder, that is what will appear in template. But now we are saying we can dynamically add form controls to our form. And what is form array? Form array, by the name itself, it says it's an array. It's an array. And what is an array made of? It's made of form control. It can be made of form group. It can be made of form array internally as well. So form array is nothing but set of controls or set of fields which are grouped together. Now what is an array? Like I said, it can have form controls, it can have a form group, it can have a form array. Anything that when you take multiple form controls, it becomes an array. Now we can also have a combination. We can have a combination of above abstracts. Now for example, I can have a form array which has a form control, and it can also have a form array. I can have a form array only of form controls, that's also fine. We can have form group, form control, and we can have any number of form groups, any number of form controls. So see, essentially what you're doing is you're building an array of form control, groups, or form array, right? Now related to this, what are these? These are form controls. When you group all of them together, it becomes a form group. And that's what you're forming an array of. If you take up this example, which is college name, degree, percentage, again it's a form group which you can add multiple times. That's why it will become a form array. Right? So this is an example. I hope I made it clear to you what is a form array. We will deep dive now with simple use cases and make it also complicated. But before that, let me quickly walk you through some technical words so that you can relate to it. Now, like I said, for complex forms, you will need form arrays. Whenever we work with form arrays, we can add elements, we can remove elements from the form easily. Form array aggregates the value of each child form control into an array. When we define an array of form controls or form group, basically we are grouping form controls together. A form array finally will have the value, status value of the values of each form control, the status of it. The status of the form array is calculated by reducing the status of each of its children. If any of the one control becomes invalid, the entire array becomes invalid. I hope it's clear, but it will be, if you have some doubts, hold on to that thought, because right now I'm going to show you with some very basic use cases, too advanced to help you master reactive form array. Let's get started. So before we do that, let me start the application. In the meanwhile, please, if you are liking the tutorial, please do like, please do subscribe to my channel, please do support me. Thank you in advance. Alright, so while it is getting compiled, I will go to loanstype.component.ts. That's where we are building a reactive form. So let me go to our application and let me show it here. We have it here, and we are going to say loan types. Alright, so this is a simple form. Let me little bit clean it up so that it's even better and clear to you. I don't like using table, but I'm throwing it right now because little bit of beautification always helps, and that is only to make you comfortable. Again, I don't want to spend too much time in designing, because you know that what's important is to learn the concepts, because design can always be customized. So let me show you here. So we have it here, and similarly I'm going to create one more quickly, tr. So arrange this into trtds, and so that there is little bit of formatting. All right, and we'll throw in some quick td, and throw the td here to a group, and then you have some simple table. I'm not going to spend time, rather I'll go and teach you the concepts better. So we have this reactive form, and we enter the value. It will show. We added validation last time, if you remember the previous episodes, and there is something that we need to enter, minimum values, etc. The form is disabled, now it's enabled. So this is a simple reactive form that we did. Let me show you the form group first. And if you see the form group, this is what we have. It says it has only 3 fields right now: loan name, loan type, and loan description. Look carefully. This is for the loan name, this is for the loan type, and this is for the loan description. So once we have it, now what we are going to do, we are going to start implementing form arrays. But before we do that, let me put it here. So how do we define a form array? Let me show you some basics first, and then we'll get into complex use cases. So I'm going to define an array, and let's call it users equal to, and I'm going to define and say it's a new form array. And whenever we say it's a new form array, we will give values, just like how you define arrays. But now this is an array of form controls. Very simple use case, nothing complicated. I'm saying this has, and I'm saying form control, and my bad, it's an array, and here I'm going to say, let's say art tutorials, and I have a simple use case. So what does it say? It says there are 2 form controls, and I'm grouping them together to make it an array. So in other words, I can say this is an array of 2 form controls. Yes, and now we are going to display that in the UI. But before we do that, let me show you what happens when you print users here, and we'll also print users value. Okay, so let's see this use case now. Alrighty, so here we see there are value 2 array. It's printed a form array. When I print users, it is giving me form array, which has 2 values. This is a form array, see here, and I'm saying there are 2 values, which are nothing but arc and tutorials, which is what the values I have given. Now what we are going to do, let's put that as part of our form. Okay, now this is a simple use case, right? Use case 1, which is defining a simple form array. Start with this, very basic. Start with baby steps. So now I've got a form array. Now take this and put it to the form. So now see, I'm adding a new field to my reactive form. This form I have, which is a group which has 3 fields: loan name, loan type, loan description. You can see here it's just simple loan name, loan type, loan description. Now add one more field. Now I'm going to call them users. And what is this type? Just like how we defined new form control, we are going to say new form array, like what we did here. So see here, this is what I copied, what we just defined, which is new form array, and I'm putting it here. What I had it here, see, we defined it here, and I'm just saying new form array of 2 form controls. I'm adding it to the form now. Okay, so now this form has 4 fields, but we need, before we see anything, we have to first update our template so that it is visible. Right now we don't see anything because we have not added in the template. So let's work on the template now. Remember friends, this is where most people make mistake. Most developers make this mistake. So make sure that you carefully see it so that you don't make that mistake. All right. So what are we going to do in this case? Let's say trtd, whatever. Now I'm throwing in a div, and let's give, for the sake, just follow the same form group. Now pay very careful attention here. Here we are defining form control. You see here form control name. You see here form control name equal to loan name, because it's a form control. But this, what we are going to add now, is a form array. That's why you have to write form array name equal to same name of what you gave here, which is say users, and put it here, close the div. So remember friends, here you will give form array name. Alright, so let's throw in a label, and I'm going to say users. Then you need to loop it because it's an array. Remember, it's not a form control, it's an array. So I'm going to say let control of the form name. What is the form name? It's add loan types name, and then you would say in that you have a control. What is the name of the control? Dot users, right? And inside that you want the controls which are in that array. So I'm adding one more array bracket and saying in this form find a control by the name users, which is this. Inside that find controls, which are these two. So that's why I'm adding controls here. And I'm going to say let I is equal to index, and close it the div here. And now we can just loop them and print them here. And now I'm going to bind it and say form control name, because these are again controls that we are getting from the array. So I, and let's close it. Now we should see it in our UI. We are getting arc and tutorials. So what we are saying, there is a form control by the name users which has 2 more controls in it. So we are looping and printing the values. We are binding using form control name. This is the first and the foremost simplest example I can give you of form array. Now, like I said, this form control can have anything. It can have a form control, it can have a form group, etc. I hope this is clear to you, because right now we are going to go ahead one more step and create a little complicated one. Are you ready for that? Let's get started. So what are we going to say? So now what we'll do, we want to insert a new one. Okay, so now we are saying we want to have a little complicated one. So I will comment this here, save it. In the template also I will comment for your reference. because I'm going to now make it a little complicated here. Follow along. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comments section. I'll try and help you. Alright, so now I'm saying I want to make it a little complicated. So I'm going to say users. I'm adding a control by the name users. Now I'm saying it is still a form array, but now the array will be little complicated. So now I'm going to say that I don't want just a form control. Instead, I want a group. So now you see we used a form builder. You see here we are using FB, which is nothing but not Facebook, but it's a form builder. You see here, this is an instance of form builder. So I'm saying this dot form builder dot group. So I'm saying this array will have now three things. So let's say it here. And what is this group going to have? So I'm going to say it would have a name. One user will have a name, which is new form control, right? And you can initialize any value just like how we learned for anything, or you can leave it empty for now. And then you will say I need to enter the age. Again, if it's a girl, don't ask for age, not a good idea. Alright, so here you got second field, and then you would say say department. I mean, again, you can add any number of fields. The idea I'm trying to show here is that you can have simple form control which will be grouped together as a form array. Or now I'm saying this array will consist of these three fields, which becomes a group, right? So now this entire field will have three things to it: age, name, age, and department, right? So now let's try and map this into our template. So again, I'm going to copy this. So remember friends, whenever we do this, you need to make sure that you have the template updated accordingly. So how are we going to do that? Same way, copy this again, or let me type it for you so that you get feel of it. Class equal to form group. Alright, and again I'm saying it's a form array name. What is the form array name? Users. Now let's throw in a label and say users, and again div, and I told you since it's an array we need to loop it, and we are going to say let control. Is it necessary to call it control? Absolutely not. You can call it anything that you want. Take the form name, and what is the control name in it? So we are saying controls dot, what is the name that we gave? We gave it as users. And what about users? We need to get the controls which are inside this particular form array control, which is users. So I got the controls. Then what are we going to do? We are going to now see, this is tricky guys, because it's a group. Okay, it is not a form control. You see here and here difference. Here it was only form control, so I used form control directly, but now this is a form control array, so it's a group. So I'm going to say here index ends, and now I'm going to give the name. Pay very careful attention. A lot of you will make mistake here. You will say form group name because it's a form group that you're working with now. So you will assign that value I, close it here. Take a look at this guys again so that you don't miss up this, because a lot of you will miss this for sure. We got a form array name by the name users, and I'm looping that array. Let control of form name dot controls dot users. In this form, find a control by the name users. Get the controls which are inside this array. Since we are talking that it's a group, so I have assigned form group name equal to I. And now we can just simply bind it, and we can say input type equal to text, and then I'm going to say form control name, because now I know that they are just form controls which are inside a group. Copy this 3 times because we have 3 form controls and department. That's it. Now let's see it in action. Okay, there is an error. Okay, good. Errors are good. That's how we learn. Okay, so it says Angular JIT compilation failed. All right, so no worries. Loans type is declared. Okay, let's check here what is going wrong. Um, we got the users and we got, let's me check one more time what we got here. We got the name, we got new control, form control, and empty age and department. Have we closed it correctly? Yes, we are closing it here and we are saying okay. So I'm going to stop. Sometimes you just need to restart so that the compilation takes place. In the meanwhile, let's check the template code. We got the form array name users and we are saying control of index I. So far looks good to me, but still there is an error. Let's see. You will run into issues with this, but don't give up, not yet. Alright, so we got controls, form group name, alright, and we got the department name, but still looks like there is an error. Let's see what it is. App module loans type is declared. Unexpected token. Okay, it says the error that unexpected token equal to at line number 61. Oh, okay. Okay, so we got it here. So here we need to define let I is equal to index. So that's the issue. I hope it should go away now. Let I is equal to index. What's wrong? This is okay. I think that should have been the problem. That should fix it. We got correct closing of the quotes and form name is equal to I. It's closed. I think it should work now. Yeah, it's compiled successfully. So okay, so we go to loans types. So now you see we got 3 fields because this is a form group which has 3 controls: name, age, and department. How do we set some values? So let's see. Let's set some values so we know that department tutorials. All right, so you see it, we got a form array which has now 3 form controls, which is basically a group. Now this is an array which has group. Now no brainer here. The next use case that we will look is this is a form array with a form group. So see, slowly we are making it complicated. We have a form array which has simple form controls. We also saw form array which has a group now. Yes. The next use case is adding and removing the elements from form array dynamically, which is what basically add or remove elements. So we are going to add a plus button here. Click on it, it will keep adding. Click on remove, it will remove it. But that's for the next episode. I don't want to make this too long. Please do drop me any comments or questions you have. I'll be more than happy to assist and help you. I hope I'm trying to make things easy for you so that you can follow and understand. If you like the tutorial, please do like it. Please do share with your colleagues. If you like my work and tutorials, please do consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/arttutorials. Thank you so much for joining. We'll continue learning. Join me in the next episode. We will learn about nested form arrays. We'll do add, removing of the elements from form array. Extremely important topic. I want you to really learn and master this. So let me know if you have any doubts. Thanks again for joining.